Welcome to the GPLama YouTube channel and to one of the most anticipated smart trainer reviews in quite some time. This is the JetBlack Victory smart trainer. We had a preview of this trainer mid-year at Eurobike, so the specifications are known, but the big unknown has been, how does it perform? And the short of it is, it performs extremely well. Now, a few quick takes for those short on time to get straight into the details that you want to know about this trainer. And at this point in time, the Victory is unmatched for features at any price point. The Victory sets a new standard for direct drive smart trainers, and I believe the JetBlack Victory will be the new benchmark that all new smart trainers will be compared to from here on in. It's been one of the best performing smart trainers that I've tested here in the Lama lab and used for my own training between tests. So what makes it so good? Quick rundown of why I think it's so good. For US $399, it comes with all the next generation features. You have Wi-Fi connectivity, 10 Hz race mode, auto spin down, sensor bridging, wired connectivity via USB-C. It has an odometer, support for quick release and through axle bikes, so the Zwift Ride frame and any standard bike. And it's ready to go out of the box for Zwift virtual shifting support, making this smart trainer unrivaled on price, features, and after around 420 kilometers, 13.5 hours of testing, I can confirm it performs extremely well. In fact, if this smart trainer performs as well for everybody else as it has here in the Lama lab, it's going to be an extremely popular smart trainer on the market this season. Okay, let's get stuck into the technical specifications of this smart trainer, top to bottom. Direct drive interactive smart trainer, so you'll get sim mode for gradient simulation indoors, erg mode to hold you at that set point for your workouts. It has a proprietary electromagnetic resistance system. Connectivity wise, everything is covered and then some, so Wi-Fi using Direct Connect, Bluetooth FTMS, ANT Plus FEC, and USB-C connectivity. Power accuracy claims plus or minus 2%. It has auto calibration or auto spin down. You can also do a manual spin down if required. Maximum power 1800 watts, max grade simulation of 16%. Compatibility pretty much across the board with anything you can ride these days. So Zwift cog and virtual shifting. It has a Shimano HG compatible free hub on there, so 8 to 12 speed Shimano road cassettes can be installed. Quick release through axle bikes, including the Zwift Ride, and SRAM XDR is also available as an aftermarket option. Now, the Victory is only shipping at this point in time with the Zwift Cog version 2 and Click combo. You can install your own cassette if you want to use this on platforms that don't support Zwift protocol or Zwift virtual shifting. The unit weight comes in at 16.9 kilos, powered by mains power, and the other has quite a few little nice additions there. So race mode, 10 Hertz, Bluetooth bridging for a heart rate monitor, and the smart turn block if you've got one of these from JetBlack and are using a normal bike that has turning handlebars. I reference that because the Zwift Ride doesn't have turning handlebars, you steer with the controllers. It has an odometer and a carry handle with some nice bar tape on it as well. Now, I've reviewed a lot of smart trainers over the last few years, and I'm pretty sure that is the most comprehensive list of features on any smart trainer at any price point. And speaking of price points, US $399, Aussie dollars $749. In Europe, the official pricing is $449. And in the UK, $399. That is with the Zwift Cog version 2 and the Zwift Click included. On to a quick speed run of the unboxing experience. Now, JetBlack have you covered with all of the unboxing and setup how-tos over on their YouTube channel, but I thought I'd include mine. It was pretty straightforward. Everything in the box here, so your Regions power supply, 2 legs, quick release and through axle adapters, tools to get it built, disc brake spacer, the Zwift Click, and that Zwift Cog version 2 with its 10 points of adjustment pre-installed on the bike. Click. And good to go. The legs are color-coded, so you can't get those mixed up. And the Victory has a little wider front leg on the right-hand side compared to similar smart trainers, giving it a little bit more stability on the bike. Another nice touch is those end nuts are welded to the legs, so installation super simple. The only difficulty I had was getting the Allen key under the flywheel there, but once built, all good to go, okay? Now, the flywheel itself, just a little bit different in design, with a flywheel disc on the outside and not the entire unit turning. You can see here the flywheel on the outside disc. Also note that carry handle is very, very balanced. I do have some smart trainers that when you pick them up via the carry handle, they smack you in the shins. So good job there on that one, JetBlack. Onto the connectivity side of things, and I'm a huge fan of any smart trainer that supports Wi-Fi. It just simplifies everything. Once the trainer is on your home network, you just open your software platform of choice and the smart trainer appears. There's no messing about with Bluetooth, Bluetooth dongles, Bluetooth versions, Ant Plus sticks. Wi-Fi using Durcon simply just works. It is absolutely brilliant. And pairing to Apple TV with a trainer that supports Wi-Fi uses exactly 0 Bluetooth connections. Now, Apple TV does have that limit of 2 Bluetooth devices being connected at any one time. Connecting to the Victory over Wi-Fi solves that. Problem done, not an issue. There's Ant Plus FEC Bluetooth FTMS support as well, so it is compatible with all software platforms out there. There is a USB-C port at the back of the unit, but it's unsupported by any software at this point in time. Yes, JetBlack are a little ahead of the game, so stay tuned for some testing on that once some platforms support that. Zwift protocol means it supports Zwift virtual shifting, obviously with the cog and the cassette this unit ships with. Heart rate monitor bridging is also a very, very useful feature. And JetBlack also have that bridging to, again, I'll bring out the props, their smart turn block device. Meaning that if you had the JetBlack Victory connected to Zwift via Apple TV, and you had your heart rate and your turn block paired via the trainer, you're using 0 Bluetooth slots. This is brilliant. It saves all the headaches. Now that leaves 2 Bluetooth slots open for either the Zwift Ride, the Zwift Click, or if you have these Zwift Play controllers, they pair as 2 devices because those controllers aren't bridged. You're still good to go. JetBlack have solved the problem of Apple TV offering only those 2 slots, which has been a limiter in the past. So cheap trainer, cheap device to run Zwift or your platform of choice. And with this combo, it just works. Next up, 10 Hz race mode is probably a little fast on Zwift, jumping around extremely erratically because that's how we pedal bikes. Now you can switch that to 3-second average display on screen and Zwift will still respond at 10 Hz. It's just the display will be a little easier on the eye. Another thing of note, the JetBlack Victory has no Ant Plus power, speed or cadence, just Ant Plus FEC. So if you want to dual record, you'll need to connect to the trainer as a smart trainer, put it in passive mode, and away you go. Now, onto that all-important ride experience. Throughout my testing, I had no problems with the stability of the JetBlack Victory. I found it stable in the saddle, out of the saddle, and during maximal sprints, which of course requires a different technique sprinting indoors than it does out. I really had to reef on the bars side to side to get it to lift those legs. And as noted, the right-hand front leg is a little bit longer than the competition to give it a bit more stability on the right-hand side. In regard to noise, the device itself is silent. The only thing you'll hear is your chain, your drivetrain, your fans, but most definitely the music you have pumping during your workouts. The flywheel resistance performs extremely well. It's easy enough during recovery rides to ride at low wattages. It's not like you're pushing through mud to get that flywheel spinning. And it has more than enough resistance at my 1300 watt plus sprints. Sim gradient changes, tested on Titan's Grove, were as fast as expected, as were the virtual gear changes. Now, depending on your virtual gear setup, you'll need to slam through a few gears at a time to get big jumps in resistance change. Now, that's my choice to have the 24 gears set up as sequential changing within Zwift. You can have that virtual front chainring, which gets around that too. But do note, if you have trouble jumping through gears, just check your gear configuration within that virtual setup. When it comes to the erg mode performance in workouts, it was brilliant. Matching my experience of using a Saris Hammer smart trainer, which are always held in high regard for erg, the JetBlack Victory was very, very similar, if not exactly the same. Brilliant in erg mode zone transitions and set point stability. The Victory held 60 watts erg, all the way up to 560 watts erg, which is as high as I could test in recent weeks. And it was also accurate, using a wide range of RPM in erg mode, from 65 RPM up to around 105, 110 RPM. So, as I've said, this trainer will be setting the new standard that all smart trainers will be compared to. Onto the power accuracy of the Victory, which is claimed plus or minus 2%, and with that spec, it has exceeded my expectations for sim mode, erg mode, and peak power sprints. The Victory has performed exceptionally well with multiple Lama lab tests over a number of days. I'd rate it about a 9.5 out of 10 because nothing is perfect, and we'll dig into the details of why in just a few moments. But before I do, the comparative power meter that I've been using to test the JetBlack has been the Asioma Duo and the Asioma Pro MX. They are a baseline power meter that I've been using since April 2018, and since that date I've recorded, where's the number here, 895 comparative datasets with Favero power meters. They are extremely reliable and a very, very good tool to compare smart trainers with. Now, another data point I'll mention before jumping into the data, I think this is quite interesting. The Asioma Duo you'll see that I've used to compare the Victory to are my original set from April 2018. I've replaced the bearings in that set once. I've done a battery life test on them 3 years ago. They were still holding 57 hours of charge. I haven't since tested the battery life on these things, but I can confirm this pair is still holding enough charge for me to forget where I put the charger between charges. So they're still doing quite well. All right, let's get into the details of this data. As always, here we are on my favorite website, the DCR Analyzer tool, where we can compare multiple power meters as an overlay and see how things stack up. I have 4 data sets to go through with the JetBlack Victory, 2 free rides, 2 Lama lab tests, and some pretty impressive numbers. Starting off with a free ride here of around 90 minutes. This is the Zwift It's a Party route badge ride back on the 22nd of September. Now this was with a pre-production firmware. And this was the first ride where once I stepped off the bike, I thought, whew, they may have got this one absolutely spot on. It's pretty damn close. All right, let's have a look at the data from this one. Driving into the first 26 minutes, just riding along, always spiky, always non-consistent, not using erg, into a harder effort up through, I believe that's Titans Grove, KOM. What are we looking at? 217, 218. Beautiful, looking really, really good there. Grabbing another rando set just here, all looking good for another 29 minutes, so no drift. Into some 1 minute on, 1 minute offs, heading up the new climb off the coastal road, 245, 246. Again, this is unsmoothed data. I don't like to put smoothing on so you can see the real data reported or recorded from both meters here. That's all looking good to me. Into the sprint. Sprint's a little bit undershooting on this one with the JetBlack Victory. Now this was beta firmware, something the team did address in later updates, which we'll look into. But look, overall, first ride, or first longer ride, no drift, good clean data, accurate data, well, accurate compared to the trusted Asioma Duos. Happy days, that's all looking good. Data set number 2, another ride. This was around 45 to 50 minutes. And in the pens early on, just spinning along, let's grab what counts when I was actually pushing on the pedals. 183, 184 on the Asioma Duos, 2 sprints, 1 hard effort in the middle, all looking really, really good. The sprint here, pretty damn close from what you'll see between 2 pedals and a smart trainer. Happy with that. Short little hard effort in here, representing what I was doing on both power measuring devices. All good. Just riding along, let's grab that just for fun. 179, 179.9. You see where I'm going with this? It's as easy to review. And final sprint here. Again, peak power looking super close there by 18 watts at 1200. Happy days. Now, pulling up the cadence on this, which is a little laggy, well, delayed, I guess, because well, the reason being is, and this is a whole topic in itself, is that when you're pedaling on a smart trainer, it'll estimate your cadence from your peak power or your dead spots. Either way, it knows when there's power and knows when there's not, and that represents your pedal stroke. On some smart trainers, if you're riding through Titans Grove and the resistance disappears and there's no sine wave in your power pedal profile, then it can't estimate your cadence, and cadence will erroneously report very badly. I've had some trainers do it pretty poorly. This does pretty well. It hangs on to that cadence for a few seconds and then reports whatever you're doing. So steady state, just fine. Might be able to see it in here. It's just lagging a little bit from the Victory, but it's not going to be as quick or as responsive as, say, a power meter on the bike, which is using accelerometers and is pretty much spot on in real time. So just a few seconds lag for cadence changes on this. Something to be aware of, but something I don't see as much of an issue unless you're really dialed down into your cadence, at which point you could pair to a true cadence sensor and get that real-time data if you like. Okay, so 2 free rides, done and dusted. Now to the real test of truth, the Lama lab test. Starting off with the first one here, I did 2 Lama lab tests on subsequent days to make sure the first one wasn't a fluke. The second one, well, let's get to the second one next. First one here, all looking good. Solid warm-up at the start here. A couple of little sub-maximal sprints, very, very short, all looking fine with 235, 234. Bit of a solid effort up there, bit of a kick towards the end, all looking good. Into the step-up tests through 60-watt erg, which is hard to get to, especially if you're spinning at like 100 RPM and maybe 120 watts for it to come down to 60-watt RPM. When it got there, it held just fine. So if you're a low FTP rider, which is absolutely fine, and again, a target audience for this being such a low price, how does it perform? when pedaling at lower erg zones, pretty good. 60 watts, well, once I calmed my pedals down to 60 watts, it matched that. 80 watts, 100 watts, 120 watts. Again, it looks jagged on the pedals because I'm a meat motor. We're all pretty bad on the pedals. There's an element of smoothing as well provided within erg, but nice and smooth, nice and consistent. It's not chasing that set point up and down by 20, 30, 40 watts. All is looking good there. Into the steady state, and a small dropout on amp plus FEC right there, which is a real bummer because that would be a really nice data set if it wasn't dropping out. There was no dropout on Wi-Fi, which is what the trainer was controlled with, so I'm guessing that's either environmental, could have been the Garmin Edge that I was recording with. Either way, one blip, that's life. However, the important part, erg mode stability, rock solid, no trend up, no trend down, and it held those numbers absolutely brilliantly. 223, 224, bit of a small blip there, so call it a day with those numbers, but everything is performing absolutely perfectly. Into the sprint, again, absolutely rock solid with that. I don't think I've seen a smart trainer perform so well in sprints like that, especially with the one-to-one locked flywheel speed / cadence using the single cog. All is good, all is good. Now into the overs and unders, 20 seconds low, 20 seconds high, 20 seconds low, so 350s and into the 450s up there, and that looks absolutely brilliant. That is hands down one of the best erg over and under interval sessions that I've done on any trainer in a very, very long time. The fact the numbers line up pretty well is just a bonus. It'll also dip down always here, here, and here as you back off the pedals, and the trainer then sort of slows down and applies less resistance. The pedals are a little bit quicker to respond with the element of smoothing applied, but that is just absolutely brilliant. And the experience on the pedals, as shown in my video before, it's hard to actually show feels, but it really brings you into that transition, sits you at that set point, and then brings you back down. Absolutely brilliant. From there, flywheel speed test, which is done with cadence when you have only one cog. All is looking good there, so 60 to 65 RPM at 225 watts locked in. Again, the pedals spike up a little bit as I increase that RPM into 85 RPM. Again, increasing the RPMs into about 105 RPM, and things looking really, really good across the line there. 218, 220, with a few little spikes from the pedals as I get up and increase that flywheel speed. Into a step test in erg. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, it gets there. I get a bit sloppy at the end, but the numbers are looking really good for that step test too. So no separation as things climb from either the trainer going high or low or the pedals doing their own thing. Again, that's impressive. After that, returning to 200 watt steady state to make sure nothing had changed. Maybe some thermal drift had taken place after all that heat had been put through the flywheel. 199.92, 199.2. I'm pretty sure that's within spec. Actually, no, I can guarantee you that's within spec, even after giving it a hard time. However, I did only give this a 9.5 out of 10 for power accuracy because something kind of strange happens. After doing all that erg session you just see there and returning back to sim mode, there's a power discrepancy of around about 3 to 4 to 5 watts. Now, doing the math on that, that's pretty much still within spec with a trainer that's plus or minus 2, a set of pedals that are plus or minus 1, plus some stops and starts here and the recording differences, but something's just not quite one for one matching up perfectly. So 191, 187 there. I'm just wondering if something has happened with spin down or auto calibration during my erg switching. My workout does switch from erg mode to sim mode quite a bit. There's a little bit of coasting every now and then. So to really pick the peanuts out of this, just right there at the end, just a little bit of separation in power there. But other than that, across the board, I can't recall a trainer performing that well for the Lama lab test. But the question was it a fluke? No, it wasn't, because here is Lama lab test number, well, I've done a number of Lama lab tests, but here's the one the next day doing exactly the same test. I just wanted to make sure the day before wasn't a fluke. I didn't have good legs. The trainer had good legs as well, maybe, and we matched up. No, everything the same the next day. So warm up into a harder effort here. 208, 208, all looking good. Ramp test you've seen, steady state in erg, no dropouts on amp plus FEC. What have we got? 224, 226, that's all good within spec there. Again, it does look jagged because I don't put any smoothing on this. Into the sprint, small blip in the sprint here, but overall, over that 7-second period, 10:46, 10:30, I have another rabbit hole to go down, which I'll save you from today, and that's about recording Zwift 10 Hertz with Wi-Fi and its smoothing. It can misrepresent the data that's coming from the trainer. This is why I'm using amp plus FEC for this deep dive. But a story for another day. But overall there, that's okay. I have sent through to the team that spike to have a quick look at, but the other sprints were okay. Again, into the overs and unders, and again, looking good. I was fatiguing. This was day 7 or 8 of me doing Lama lab tests. So when it punched up to 450, well, I won't say punch. We have seen some trainers really punch. And by punch, I mean you've got to do nearly 600 watts to get to 450 for it to bring down. This just brings you up to the zone and sits you there if your legs agree. In the first few seconds of those, my legs didn't agree. But when it got me there, I held on, got through, and again, looking good. Ramp test, again, same as the other day. Bring up to 560 watts, all looking good there. Returning again to 200 watts steady state. I'm sorry if this is a little boring, but this is just validation that this thing is working extremely well. 199, 199. And then again, same as the day before, just riding along. What was sim mode up to? 166, 162 with some stop starts. Let me grab just a section through here. 177, 174. So again, the same consistency with that discrepancy of about, what are we looking at now? About 3.5 watts there. Again, still in spec. But again, maybe something the team could look at just to tweak a little bit, just to see what's going on. Given I could repeat it, that's a good thing. If things can't be repeated, they're hard to troubleshoot. But I think if they can get on top of this one, this trainer goes from a 9.5 to a 9.8. Again, nothing is perfect. So after seeing that data, you can probably understand my statements early on that this trainer is unmatched, unrivaled, the performance is absolutely brilliant, and it will be the benchmark that every other smart trainer is compared to from here on. But there are still some unknowns with this. Starting off with, how does it operate with the standard cassette? Now, given the JetBlack Victory is only shipping with the Zwift cog, that's all I've tested to date. I'll be doing further testing in the coming weeks with a full cassette. So stay tuned for that one. Next up, shipping these in volume. It's a whole different story than shipping, say, 10 or 20 review units. Now, I've had the production unit for a few weeks now. I've given it a very, very hard time with all my testing, and it's performed extremely well. But until they start shipping 100, 1,000, 10,000 of these units out in the market, we really have no data on how things are going to hold up. It is worth noting this is not the first direct drive smart trainer rodeo JetBlack have performed. This is their 3rd generation direct drive smart trainer they've produced. And speaking of production, can they produce enough of these smart trainers? That's my last point here in the unknowns. I suspect they're not going to be able to keep up with demand. It's a good problem to have, I guess. Okay, before wrapping this one up, onto my quick summary and conclusion of the JetBlack Victory, answering the question that everybody's been asking, is this a good buy? And the answer is yes, it's as simple as that. At $399 US, you've seen how it performs in the Lama lab. I believe JetBlack do a 30-day return policy. There's warranty coverage. Check your local regions for warranty, typically around 12 months. It's a very good option. But one thing I will be doing is keeping a very close eye on the feedback that owners post when they unbox these and ride them for the first time themselves. If these trainers perform just as well out in the market as they have here in the Lama lab, the JetBlack Victory is going to bury almost every other smart trainer out there on the market to date. And yes, that is a big call, but you've seen the data. Let's go JetBlack. Let's see how you can do. All right, with that, we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for watching this one, the most anticipated smart trainer review for a very, very long time. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. And as always, do the YouTube things, the thumbs up, the subscriptions, they really help out here. And thanks for watching.